Hello everyone, let me quickly explain you the question, that is minimum area rectangle. Here the requirement is that we are given a couple of points here and we have to figure out through these particular points what is the smallest rectangle that can be possible. Okay, so that is our question. And to solve this up, what we can do, we know that to make someone as a square, if there is a point that is given over here, if we know what point it is, then we want three subsequent point. We want a point in which is horizontally in the same line, which is vertically on the same line, and which is diagonally on the same line as well. That's what we want, right? So what I'm saying is, if there is any point that we are at right now, and if we are able to figure out that do we have all these 3 points as well in our visited points, if it is, then it is a valid rectangle. And if it is a valid rectangle, then we can calculate its area and save the minimum one out of at the end of the day and pass out the minimum value that we just discovered. So what we just discovered is, if we discover a point, we just have to check that the rest of the 3 points are already there in the visited list or not. If it is not, then we will continue and we will see that okay, let's add this new point and see if through this point, if we are able to figure out a point in such a way that we are able to get all the 3 subsequent points that we want at the end of the day or not. Okay, so that's all what we have done in this question. We have created a visited set, which is making sure whether these points are already visited or not, whether we have all the subsequent values with us or not. Okay, once we are here, what we are saying, that for each value I'll loop over to all the visited points that are there in my set. Okay, and for each point, what I'm checking, for each point I'm checking basically the diagonal point. And how checking the diagonal point will help me? Through this diagonal point, I know that okay, this is my x1 y1, this is my x2 y2, and once I have these two values with me, it is very easy to figure out these two values as well. Because if it is x1 y1 and it is x2 y2, then this value is nothing but x1 y2 and this value is nothing but x2 y1. So if you know this combination, that okay, if these 2 points are given, we can find out these 2 points as well. So something similar we are doing in our code as well. We are figuring out all the visited points that are already visited, and through these visited points I'm checking whether the combination of this and this is already there in my list, in my visited set or not. Basically I'm checking, okay, this is my new point, and I figured out that okay, I already have this point, and through this point now I'm figuring out whether these 2 points are already there or not. And once we got to know that okay, these 2 points are all also there, that means we are already we have all the 4 points that we need, right? And once we have the 4 points we need, it is very easy to find out an area for area of a rectangle. So if you know what is the area of the rectangle, it is this into this. And to figure out the total length and the width of a rectangle, what we can do, we can find out the total distance from here minus the distance from here. This will give us this value, and the total distance from here minus this will give us this value. So that's all we are doing. We are calculating the mathematical absolute value of these distance that we just discussed, this one, and we are multiplying this will give us the area of the rectangle. And once we have the area of the rectangle, we will continuously save it until we find a minimum value. That's all we are doing. And once we are done finding out the minimum value, we will add this new point that we just discovered inside my visited set again, so that in future maybe some other set might some other rectangle might be possible through this point, so we do not want to neglect it. Okay, so that's how we are doing it. We at the end of the day, we are just making sure that all the 4 points, if we discover a new point, we are just making sure that all the remaining 3 nodes are already there in my visited point. If it is that, then we can find out the dimension of this value, such that we can find the length and the width at the end of the day, and we can find out the area and save the minimum one out of it. And that's all what we are doing. and just go through this example, go through this code once. It is very easy to do. We can if we do not want to use hash set, you can even use array list as well. I have saved one code, like I executed the code with array list earlier. Let me show you. So this was the code with array list, very similar, that instead of just hash set we are using just array list, and it worked as well. But at some point it started giving me TLE. The reason being is, if you know the addition and the checking whether this particular list is there or not, this actually takes O of n time in an array list. Whereas in hash set, the contains and the addition and all these things take off one time complexity. So that's why in this question it is preferred to use hash set and not the array list. So this was a small comparison as well. So I guess that's all. Let me know if you need any help. I'll try to provide this code in the comment section as well. Thank you.